Oh, he's getting it now.
Hey everyone, welcome to Heavy Metal Customs. Today we're back on our 68 Mustang project. If y'all have been watching along, you know where we're at. For those of y'all who haven't, this was a 68 coupe, and we're doing the fastback conversion, basically replacing the majority of the car with new parts. So this is a really big project, and I'm really enjoying it. Well, going off of our last video, I was supposed to start on installing the rear end this week. Well, that's been held up because I'm still waiting for my lower control arms. I got my uppers, but I need my lowers. So in the meantime, what I've done, went around here, and there were some filler spots where metal didn't quite meet and stuff, so I made some filler panels and got all of that welded in. And now, we're fixing to go to the rear of the car, and what I'm going to do, instead of ordering bumper supports, we're just going to make our own. Alright, you see the slots right there? That's where the bumper bolts through. Well, there's supports that go in here that look just like that, with these old ones that I cut out. And the reason I cut them out is because I know they're not any good, they're rusty. But you see, it's not rocket science or anything like that. So instead of ordering these, we're just going to make some. I got my patterns drawn out here. I'll get this cut out and I'll show y'all where I'm going to bend it. And then as far as this flat goes here, I grabbed a different piece of metal. It's a shade thicker than what this is. And I've got them all measured and drawn out and ready to cut. So we'll grab our plasma cutter and we'll get these cut out and get these bent up properly, and I'll show you how to make these and install them and save yourself some money by ordering them. Cleaned, ground down and whatnot, and you'll notice two extra marks up there at the top, here and here. Once I bend this, it will not be square with the end. So what you do here, get them marks, let's go right there and make your mark. No biggie. Alright, I'm going to grind them off there, get them marks, then we'll go over here to the bender. Alright, now that I have them bent up, what I'm going to do is come in here and weld on the inside of these, on both of them. Then we've got to do a little bit of fitting in there, but that won't be a big deal. But let me get these welded up, and then we'll get our fitment. Alright, got them finished and welded in. Yeah, both of them turned out really nice. That will do the trick. We also welded in this brace piece here. Now what this does, get your lock mechanism that comes through and it holds all that, your latch and all, and of course your filler tube for your fuel tank comes through here. I figured I'd get that welded while I was back here on the back side. But yeah, I'm happy with my little bumper pieces. They turned out really well. Well, our lower control arms came in. So now we can get to the rear end. I'm sure that's why a lot of you clicked on this video to see how to put an 8.8 into a older Mustang. 67, 68 would be this application, and others are going to be very similar as far as the swap over goes. But let me show you the control arms I got, and then we'll get to it. Okay, the uppers are just some aftermarket adjustables with the polyurethane bushings, and they fit anywhere from a, oh lordy, a 79 to an 04 Mustang. So pretty basic stuff there. Just order, like I looked up a 96 Mustang GT, and that's how I ordered these. that'll fit the top just fine. But like I said earlier, the lowers over there, they're just way too short. I needed some that were 22 from hole to hole, and I wanted adjustables so I can get this thing perfectly on the money. Well, I found these here. They are for a, I believe it was a 68 through 72, like a Chevelle, that body style. Yeah, GM parts, but not really. These are just made up by Southside. Found these on eBay, and I think they're going to work out perfect. Well, let me go ahead and get set up, and we'll get these lowers installed and just see if I measured everything out correctly. Alright, first things first. As you can see, this saddle here that holds our lower control arm, it goes that way. Same way with this one, it goes that way. Now we can't have that. We have to have that straight, because I don't know how well y'all can see it. But anyway, straight through there is the hole where it mounts up on the frame. So, however you want to do this, that's your business. As far as straightening them out, you want to sledgehammer them, pour the power on them, cut, weld, whatever. Just as long as these are straight. I think what I'm going to do is come in here and just cut across on each side, bend these over to where they're straight, then re-weld. I think that'll be the easiest and the cleanest look, and it'll still be very strong. So let me get that done, and then we'll try to get our lower arms installed. Got them cut, sawzall went through there without any problem. And you see, I just bent them over, and I've done a test fit. Now here's the next issue that you're going to have to deal with. This bolt hole and this bolt hole do not go straight across. When you put it in there, your bolt's still crooked like this. You can't have that. You gotta have it straight across. So, and since I took my measurements from this hole, we're gonna leave this one. What we're gonna do is just come in here. We'll take the plasma and elongate this hole here, and we need to move it about as much as the bolt thickness there. So what is that, 3/8 or something like that, who knows. But anyway, however thick that bolt is, that's how much you need to cut that out. So let me grab the plasma and clean that hole. I'll elongate it backwards, same way with this side. Then that will let the bolt sit in there straight and hold our arms straight without being in a bind. Alright, them installed just fine. Exactly the way I wanted them to go in. Now I will get some really good grade 8 hardware, some new stuff. Probably hit TSC this weekend or something. But the bolts I got now will hold it just fine. But yeah guys, 22-inch lower control arms is perfect. I want you to check that gap out. Yeah, and I've done measured it out. Look at our center. Yeah, I mean, you don't get no better than that. Still got my pinion angle about where I wanted it. Now, that right there was the easy part. As far as doing all this welding and cleaning up that hole I cut and welding up the extra and all of that, probably do that stuff when I take the rear end out. That way I can have it out here on the floor or a table and do some nice welding, because I want to get this rear end cleaned up, get it painted, get new axle seals, front seal, and get the cover off of it, of course, clean it out really well, which we're going to have to clean it anyway to weld our tops on, because I don't want no fire in there, that's for sure. But yeah, all the little particulars like that we'll do once the rear end's out and we're getting it serviced and cleaned and painted. But next is the fun part, the upper control arms, because we have to make brackets for them. Well, let me go ahead and grab them and a couple of bolts and slap them up in there and just see where we're at with them. Alright, got the lower control arms bolted in up there. And what we just now done is Took a measurement from here to here on each side, and it's exactly 3 inches. Yeah, a little big old fly was after me. After you too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's quite aggravating. Shoot him! Shoot him! All right, Casey won't shoot him. So let's carry on. Next thing we want to do is be 100% on our left or right. And probably the easiest way to do that, we're just going to lower the body down till it touches the tire. And that'll give us that'll center up our rear end. So let's do that.
You gotta take it back up.
We got her down as low as she'll go with these tires on it. That is it. Yeah, she's pretty much going down in there. Yeah, if we had some flat wall low profiles, this thing would sink. But that right there is as low as that car is never going to get down that far. You think we're going to have the coil spring here, and then the front, the bumper goes right here. So yeah, that works out perfect. So by doing that, that's got our left to right, because it's touching exactly the same piece of the tire on both sides. That is an easy and quick way of doing it. Of course, we done took our measurement fore and aft, so we're good there. All right, now that's as low as it's ever going to go. Should we leave it right there, Casey, as we do our uppers?
It really wouldn't make a difference.
Well, as far as travel-wise, that would be our limit as far as the upper going up. Yeah, we can work on it like this. All right, well, let me get readjusted, raise the car up a little bit, and I'll show y'all how we're going to do these upper control arms. All right, guys, what we're doing, a little bit of recycling here. We're using our old uppers. We're going to use the front half of them, because this is perfect fit as our pieces to weld to the frame to hold. And what we've done here, Casey's got the measurements and our lines and our angles where this should sort of fit.
Should.
All right. Well, we're going to cut these and do a little test fit and see. But yeah, recycle these old ones and make good use out of them. There's what we end up with. Just a simple angle cut, a little grinding on this side. Remember, they sit up in there like that. Let me get one set up in there and I can show you. Get the bolt in there. But yeah, just goes up there like that. And that's how she sits. And we got plenty of weld there on this thick piece of pan steel. But yeah, that's the stuff right there, guys. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and get these welded in. Good deal. Recycle. Got them welded in and then installed. Actually, I let them sit overnight, so I know they're cool enough to put up in there. But there you go. She's welded really good inside and out. I think them will be fine. We still have decent enough travel here, just in case this guy wanted this thing to go lower than what it already is. Same way with the control arms. Plenty of room for movement. As far as this goes, when it goes up, it'll get further away. So yeah, we are in very good shape with that. Now, we need to work on our coil springs. What we're doing is I just went ahead and raised the car up and stuck these springs up in there, and then let the car down. It's actually sitting on the springs right now. So now I know that my previous plan of putting the springs from here to the frame is not going to work. They're going to have to go right up there. So I have to make a good strong flat plate up there with my circle to hold it. And that's cool. Of course, I already knew I had to do my rear end piece. But that's what I wanted to do, was do a little test drive here. Now these are factory springs, 20-year-old springs. And they've got it setting, a little high. Probably, let's say factory ride height on this is supposed to be between 24 and 26. And right now it's sitting at 27. But you got to consider weight by the time you put a bunch of weight and stuff in it. So what I think is the best bet on this is I'm going to go ahead and get my perches set up and get them welded in and use these springs for now. Then once we get this car all together, weighted, a tank full of gas and whatnot, we'll check our ride height, which I'm suspecting it may be a little high. And if it is, it's no big deal. We can order some 1-inch lowering springs for it. But for now, we're just going to stick with these and see how it turns out. So let me jack the car up again and get the weight off them springs. And then we'll make us up some spring perches. For the upper, to hold that coil spring in, what we're going to do is some more recycling. These strut towers, we're not using them because we're putting independent front suspension underneath this thing. But I checked them. They are perfect. They are exactly the same as the top of the rear springs. So we're just going to cut this section out and make good use of it. I've done marked it 5.5 by 5.5. That'll fit in our area back there. Of course, we're going to beef that up a little bit. But this right here will be a perfect perch mount for them springs. We're going to go ahead and get these two cut out, and then we'll move on. All right, got them cut off, cleaned up, got some primer on the bottoms of them. Here's what they look like. See, that's perfect. Yeah, and you know that's a good piece of strong. Well made because it holds the front, which is a lot heavier than the rear. But let that primer dry a few more minutes. You noticed I got 4 steel plates here. What I'm going to do is take these steel plates and put them up in here first and weld them in, and that'll just thicken this up and make it a lot stronger. Then I can take my round part and put it up there and weld it in. That should work out perfect. Alright, as you can see, that's where I put the plates here. This just thickens up this section of floor, and what I'll do, I'll get a good weld around this. And then, we'll take this, put it up there like that, and get a good weld around that. You'll notice this here goes on top. I actually wedged it in between this and the floorboard. That makes it stronger. And when I put this in, I will weld it to the brace itself. So we're getting double strength out of it. Alright, got both of them set up in there. Looks good. Looks like tops are primered. So, let's get to welding. Well now, we got them welded in there really nice and got them primed. Yeah, that right there just worked out perfect. Not a whole lot of mess and a nice good clean fit up in there. Now we have to make our lower perches for our rear end. Now here's what I'm going to do. Yes, we're recycling again. What I do, I get these, the old bottom trailing arms. Well, I mean, this is perfect because they fit the spring. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, I've done cut this one off. I started cutting here. I'll cut this right through here and cut it off there. This will sit right on the rear end. We can bevel these out a little bit where get it sort of rounded where it fits the rear end better. And weld these in. These will be perfect. Not a whole lot going on there. Just really easy, simple. And there again, we're not having to buy parts. We're recycling this old stuff. All right. Well, I'm gonna grab my plasma because the Sawzall's not liking this too much. And go ahead and cut these out and get them cleaned up. And then we'll get them set up in there and see how they look. All right. Got them cut out. Yeah, it looked really good. So I sort of got a rounded edge on it. What I did is took it over there. I got a real thick piece of 3-inch tubing. And I just put it on there and took the hammer and formed each end. And that way to wrap around that axle tube and I'll get a good weld on it. Yeah, but let me let that primer dry on them. And then we'll get up here. We're going to clean off that area, of course. and get some primer on it where they're going to sit. In the meantime, what are you up to, Casey?
Put my door skin on.
Alright, Casey's tackling this door. He's done got all the rest of the old skin off. He's got a new door skin there. The thing's dirty.
Yeah, that's the outside. The inside's clean.
You should have done this about 40 minutes ago when it's storming outside. You
You
could
just hold it out there.
yeah, just hold it out there and let it get washed. But alright. Yeah, I got the table cleaned up. You'll throw it up there and yeah, let's see how this is going to work out. And there we have it. Those saddles be welded on. Yeah, what I done, I put the saddles up there with the springs, put some pressure up on the rear end, and got Casey to look at it and got everything squared up. Then I welded the dog out of them. And guys, before I welded them saddles on, we went ahead and dropped the cover, pulled the axles, and got all the grease out of the rear end so we wouldn't have a big grease fire. Better safe than sorry. We was going to clean it anyway and put in new seals and new fluid, so now was a good time to do it. And how's your door coming, Case?
Letting it dry now.
It's a door. Yes, it's still a door. He's got all of that cleaned up to where that's going to go on to. So yeah, not looking too bad. Alright, we got that door skin on. It turned out okay. To tell you the truth, I don't like doing skins, but you know, the rest of the door was not in that bad of a shape, so we was trying to save it. Problem with doing skins is you gotta bend this lip around, and it always causes issues around your edges. You're gonna have little dings and twists and whatnot. This has been my experience. Maybe there's some special tool to do it, I don't know. But it is door skin, so we can work it and give the rest of that door looking really good. Now, we got everything sitting here like it's supposed to, and we actually grabbed some 19s, yeah, 19-inch rims and put on this thing. These are almost 27 inches across. These are 245/40 R19s, and as you can see, width-wise, we can still go with a wider tire. And that was the whole thing about freeing up room under there so that we could actually get a decently width tire under it. Well, so far everything's good. It is sitting a little high. Like I say, we'll have to wait until we get some weight in it. Probably going to have to get some 1-inch drop springs for the rear, but we'll see. Next thing is the shocks. As you see, we got them up in there in the factory holders, and they are just not going to work in that position. They're too close to the trailing arm holder and a crossover top here. That's not going to deal with. So let me get them unbolted, bring them elsewhere. We may have to go here and go up and make us a holder up here on the frame or something. But let's get them unbolted and go from there and see what we can come up with. Well, guys, what I figured out on the shocks, I'm just going to go off these shock holders that are already on the rear end because they're at the proper position. And what I'm going to do is bring this shock up here, about right here. That's at about a 45-degree angle, and that is fine. Now what we're going to do is make a holder for the top of the shock. Well, here's what I've come up with. I'll take this piece of steel here. See, I'm drilling 2 holes in it that corresponds to the 2 bolts in the frame. And then we will just take a piece of metal and put it in here at a 45 and weld that, and put some gussets in it, drill a hole in it, and the shock will go through there. So yeah, I think that'll work out just perfect. Well everyone, unfortunately I won't be able to get that done today and get it on this week's video. We are just out of time for this week. But I promise I'll have that done and it'll be on next week's video. But you get the general idea of how you can put an 8.8 modern rear end into an older modern 68 model, 67, what have you, Mustang, or any type of car that you really want to fool with. Just get in there, do you some measurements, keep everything straight, and it'll happen. Just takes a little creativity and a little bit of wanting to get it done. Well, everyone, I appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you would, throw us down some comments. If you're able, hit up super thanks below. And please like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it very much. Until the next one, we hope that everyone has a fantastic day.